How to find motivated sellers for wholesaling real estate. Guys, it's Rick Ginn, and today we're gonna talk about the best way to find motivated sellers. I'm gonna teach you where there's smoke, there's fire, and we're gonna simplify the best ways to find motivated sellers. But before I get into it, make sure you do me a favor, smash that like button, hit that subscribe button to continue to receive the best up-to-date information on wholesaling. So let's get into it. How to find a motivated seller. Honestly, this is the most fundamental skill set that you have to master as a wholesaler. And I say you must, because if you don't find motivated sellers, you tend to waste your time in this business. You see, a lot of people think wholesaling is about finding properties for sale. That's what realtors do. I don't do that. I locate motivated sellers and see if they have properties for sale and see if it meets my criteria. In that exact order. You can't do it in any other order. For example, when people go on MLS, they're looking for a property first and they do it backwards, and they're going to pay the most that way. That's why the system's designed for it. It's a retail system. We need to do the exact opposite. And to find motivated sellers, you have to master marketing. And I do plenty of videos on this. But you also have to understand you have to think outside the box as a wholesaler. You get paid into proportion of the size of the problems you solve. And honestly, real estate is just a side effect of humans' problems. End of story. So if you look at this, if you look at it, instead of looking at it like a piece of asset in real estate, focus on the human part of it, the emotions, why people sell, things that happen in their lives, loss of job, upsizing, downsizing, divorce, death. These are all the things we're actually really solving. The real estate is just a byproduct, a symptom of the human condition, and that's what we need to attack. So if you just look at real estate, you're missing the point in wholesaling. We got to find what we call distressed situations. Now, there's two types of motivated deals. So number one, we talk about a motivated seller. This is a seller that needs to sell right away. They have a pressing issue. Either it's financial, there's a major issue with the house, or they want to just get out of the property as soon as possible. And those are usually the best deals. Now, they are a little bit far and few. Most commonly, you're going to find what we call a motivated property, where the property's in horrible shape, but the seller's not reasonable. And honestly, it does take time to work those deals. Either or, if I have either or situation, I always move forward with the deal. Now, in the perfect world, if the seller's motivated and the property's motivated, it's very easy to put a wholesale deal on it, but I don't depend on those deals. So if the property's motivated, but the seller's not, I just continue a follow-up sequence, because eventually they usually do break down. The question is, are you in front of them when they make that decision to sell? So keep that in mind when dealing with motivated sellers and properties. But the best way to look for smoke to find the fire, which is your motivated sellers, is honestly government list. And very few people talk about this outside of me and Zach. Why? Because they can't make money off of it and they don't really do it. They do all the paid services. So a government list, the good news is they're free. The bad news is they do take some work. Just because they're free doesn't mean they're easy to get, because there's a lot of people chasing down these lists. Now, the best type of government lists are going to be your pre-foreclosures, evictions, probates. Guys, these lists go on and on. Go over to freewholesaling.com to learn in detail all the different types of lists that you can get for free that are going to have the most motivated sellers. Remember, the motivation's high. You're going to get some resistance on these lists. To overcome resistance, you have to beat it with persistence. If you can overcome at least two objections, you have a much higher probability of getting what you want. Keep this in mind. Be patient. Don't be rude. And stay in your lane when getting these lists. You're never going to get 100% of the list, but if you ask for 7 lists and you get 4 or 3, I'm happy, and then we'll progress on working with persistence to get the balance of those lists. Now, once we have these lists, we're going to be resourceful. So one of the techniques we teach is what we call reverse driving for dollars. And basically, I would take like your pre-foreclosures or your code violation list. That's another great list I didn't even mention as part of your government list. Guys, freewholesaling.com, all the lists are in detail there. But you basically get a list of addresses, maybe you got 50 of them, and then you plan a route and you go out there and you put sticky notes on the door. Now, if you want software to organize all this for you, make it super simple, go to dmzack.com. Absolutely amazing. We'll figure out routes, leave notes, pictures, everything for you. Honestly, it's hard to do it without this, but you can do it for free. Basically, what you're going to do is go out there and put up a sticky note, usually on like a yellow piece of paper or like a fluorescent. Hey, just want to talk to you real quick, or got a question about your house, your name, and your virtual phone number. Now, you go out, say you put out 50, say 5 people call you back. The reality is, if you door knock those, it would take you all day, and honestly, probably 35 people would chew you out. And with Ring doorbells, you're probably never getting anywhere. So the sticky note is perfect. Now, It does take time, it does take energy, but the response rate is very high due to the personal nature of it. This is what it's like to be resourceful as a wholesaler. And then don't forget driving for knowledge simply by going out and visually looking for distressed properties. Look for ones with high grass, with blue tarp roofs, boarded up windows. They look vacant. These are great properties. You can go ahead and put a sticky note on those as well, or you can go and skip trace. Now, the really cool thing is skip tracing used to be brutally expensive. And now through dmzack.com, you have the ability to do almost unlimited skip tracing for just a nominal set fee. And it's so cheap. Honestly, if you want to do the strategy, go to dmzack.com because calling that seller right away is your fastest way to getting a deal. Don't overlook that. So now we're still talking about thinking outside the box. Now I'm really going to expand your mind because I've done this for 20 plus years. I have tried literally every technique known to mankind. I'm going to run through a quick outside the box list that you can get to find motivated sellers that most wholesalers don't even think of. Number one, the water shutoff list. Yeah, that's right. A list of people where they got the water shut off. And you're like, why would we do that, Rick? If the water got shut off, there's a high probability there's a problem with the house, problem with the renter, or the property needs work and the seller or the landlord would be open to selling it. It is a smoke. Where there's smoke, there's fire. Now, it has to be a public utility company and there's no guarantee that they will actually give you this list. But if you request, use persistence, you can actually get a great list. If you get it, it is dynamite. Next one's fire damaged properties. By simply getting a list of properties that were called for a fire from the fire department, you go to your local fire department. You can go to the city or county level and ask really nicely. I love firefighters. I don't think they should be taxed with like pounding with list, but a lot of them have lists. Some are charging fees for it now. Whatever. Try to get that list. Be super nice. Do not be aggressive and difficult. They do a job you and me probably are not interested in doing, and I need to keep them there. So I love fire damaged properties. They are properties that need to be sold. And there is a unique buyer form, but you can make a ton of money with fire damaged properties. Don't forget about that. Let's keep moving down the list. Arrest records. Like, Rick, why would I do arrest records? Listen, I look for people that do repeat offenses like DUI, theft, and battery. I mean, these are the most common ones I do deals. And after they do multiple offenses of either one of these three offenses, they get put away for anywhere from 3 to 5 years. And I find these people, like, their house is going to get taken advantage of, so they rather sell and have the money so when they get out, the money's set aside for them. Now, there's a lot of drama with these deals, but at an extreme high profit level. Don't overlook these types of deals. How do you do it? Just go to your local sheriff's office, your city police department, and get the arrest record, see what they're arrested for and the date, and then basically cross-reference to see if they own a property in your county. And if they do, you can skip trace them, go to dmzack.com, you can pull up the information, and bam, you contact them if they're interested, meet with them, make sure you're in a safe place and you're comfortable with it. But these are great resources to find smoke. Where there's smoke, there's fire, which means there's motivated sellers. So let's talk about networking to find motivated sellers. You know, you can network with realtors. Now, I know realtors and wholesalers don't really get along, and there's a long backstory on why they do it. But the reality is, if I'm going to use a realtor, I look for a brand new realtor or a very seasoned realtor that's getting ready to retire or something that likes to work with investors. And basically I tell them, listen, when you go out on a listing and the property is like trashed, it's in terrible shape. Sometimes people buy a property, the realtor brand new, and then they go to sell it 10 or 20 years later. And the realtor's like, oh my God, this thing's terrible. When you get a property like that that's going to have problems on MLS and you need a cash buyer, call me. I'll give you an offer right there and I'll pay your full commission. That's step one. Step two is if you have a listing that's been on the market 6 to 12 months and you can't find a buyer, you get ready to lose the listing, reach out to me. Let's see if we can put an offer together and pay your full commission. That's the only two ways I work with realtors to buy properties. Fishing for properties on MLS is why we have the conflict between realtors and wholesalers is difficult. Most wholesalers are not very becoming with honesty with it, and that's why realtors get ticked off at us. So honestly, use the two techniques I taught you. It'll save you a lot of aggravation with realtors when finding motivated sellers. Also, think about this. Title companies. That's right, title companies. Now, hopefully you've already reached out to a title company and you told them you're an investor and you're looking to sell contracts via assignment of contract and they're willing to work with you. Did you know your title companies know all the great buyers? They know who does the most deals. Honestly, they have a who's who on who's in your market. I get deals referred all the time from my title company, deals that fall through, someone that didn't have money, or hey, I know a seller wants to sell a property, they want a quick cash deal. Network with your title companies. It's absolutely amazing. They'll give you cash buyers, motivated sellers, and show you who the players are in your market, which is something you absolutely have to know. Don't stop there. What about real estate lawyers, specifically probate lawyers? Now, the reality is you can't cold market them. It's a waste of your time. But if you're ever in a room doing a closing or you're in a title company that's owned by one of these types of lawyers, that is a great way to network with them. And the idea is they have a probate. They're always looking for cash buyers because these are typically problematic properties. Why not you? If they already know you and you have somewhat of a relationship with you, have a shot. Cold marketing the lawyers is a waste of your time. You will never get past the front desk because everyone tries to do it. And actually you look worse by cold calling and cold marketing these types of people. Do warm marketing. When they're in the room or you're in a networking event, that's when you introduce it. Don't ever catch them off guard because they'll take you off your list so fast. You see, we just don't stop there. Let's talk about the different types of bird dogs. Yeah, bird dog. Bird dog is someone that can refer you a deal that normally you wouldn't find. So a bird dog's job is to point to the bush and where the bird is. Then your job's to take it down, meaning put it under contract and get a deal and sell it to your cash buyer. So I look for bird dogs of people that are highly social, people that love to talk to other people. Here's an example. Bartenders. Some of my best referrals come from bartenders. Why? They're very social and people tend to tell all their problems when they drink at a bar. So let them know if anyone ever mentions they need to sell a house, you can give them a marketing fee. You can't give them a commission. You can't give them a referral fee. It's illegal. But if you have a company, you can pay them a marketing fee. And all bartenders need cash. That's why they're bartending. Guys, I love bartenders. They're some of the most social people, and go ahead and use their skill set because they connect me to more people in pre-foreclosure than any other technique, even the pre-foreclosure list. Don't overlook that. Also, think about estate sale companies. Think about this. They go to people's houses to liquidate tons of stuff that people collected over 20, 30 years. Why? So they can sell the house. So you can do a marketing fee with them just like a bird dog. And if you buy the house, you can basically give them a marketing fee. It's phenomenal because they're preparing the house for sale. And I found this out like the hard way. So now I market to these companies. They usually advertise online or like in like old school newspapers. And what better way they could earn lots of extra money by referring you a house for sale. And most of these houses need a lot of love and a lot of work. Don't stop there. Go to property auctions. Remember, most property auctions, there's only one property for sale. There's 30 or 40 buyers. That means 39 people are going to walk away disappointed. That is a great place to find resources of cash buyers, or maybe they have properties they want to sell. Honestly, I'm always looking to improve what I call a Rolodex, basically my contact list, any place where you can get a ton of people together and you can get a lot of information. Always bring value to the other person first. Don't be that moocher that just takes information. Provide value, help people out with their business, and in return, they'll do you the favor, usually 2 times back to you. Now remember, whatever you lack in resources as a new wholesaler, you have to make up in resourcefulness. This entire conversation is about being resourceful as a wholesaler. If you get this, I've done my job because my resourcefulness is what got me through my first 2 years in wholesaling. I thought way outside the box. When there was a problem, I always tried to figure a way to solve it. Remember, the bigger the problem you solve, the more money you make in wholesaling. You've got to learn to be resourceful. So guys, listen, if you got value on this, on how to find motivated tellers, do me a favor, make sure you smash that like button, hit that subscribe button. This is Rick Ginn, and I'll see you in the next video.